Exchanging substances. Living organisms need to exchange substances with their environment all the time. Without this exchange, cells cannot survive. Cells need things like oxygen and nutrients, and they must remove waste products like carbon dioxide. Different organisms have developed special structures to make this exchange as efficient as possible. Gas exchange in humans. In humans, gas exchange happens in the lungs. The lungs contain millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. Air enters the lungs and fills these sacs. Oxygen moves from the air into the blood, and carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the air. This happens by diffusion. Why alveoli are so effective? Alveoli are specially adapted to make gas exchange very fast and efficient. They have a very large surface area. This means a lot of oxygen can enter the blood at the same time. They have very thin walls. This means the distance for diffusion is very short. They have a moist surface. This helps gases dissolve before they diffuse. They are surrounded by many blood capillaries. This keeps the concentration gradient high and allows gases to move quickly. Absorption in the small intestine. After digestion, nutrients like glucose and amino acids must enter the bloodstream. This happens in the small intestine. The inner surface of the small intestine is covered with tiny projections called villi. These villi greatly increase the surface area. Why villi are effective? Villi help absorb nutrients quickly because they have a very large surface area. They have thin walls, so substances can move quickly. They have a good blood supply to carry nutrients away. This keeps the concentration gradient high and allows continuous absorption. Gas exchange in plant leaves. Plants also need to exchange gases. They need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide enters the leaf through small openings called stomata. Oxygen and water vapor leave through the same openings. Inside the leaf, there are air spaces that increase the surface area for gas exchange. Water loss in plants. Plants lose water through their leaves. Most water is lost through the stomata. If too much water is lost, the plant can wilt. Plants have guard cells that can close the stomata to reduce water loss. Gas exchange in fish. Fish live in water, where there is less oxygen than in air. So they need a very efficient system to absorb oxygen. Fish use gills for gas exchange. Water enters through the mouth and flows over the gills. Oxygen moves from the water into the blood. Carbon dioxide moves from the blood into the water. Structure of gills. Gills are made of thin structures called gill filaments. These filaments increase the surface area. On the filaments are even smaller structures called lamellae. These further increase the surface area. Why gills are efficient? Lamellae have thin walls, so diffusion distance is short. They have many blood capillaries to carry oxygen away quickly. Water flows over them in the opposite direction to blood flow. This keeps a constant concentration difference and allows maximum oxygen absorption. Key learning tip: if you ever get confused, remember this simple rule. Good exchange surfaces always have large surface area, thin walls, good blood supply, movement of substances to keep gradients high. Practice questions and answers. Question 1. Give one feature of alveoli that helps gas exchange. Answer: large surface area, or thin walls, or good blood supply. Question 2. Explain how villi help absorption in the small intestine. Answer: they increase surface area and have thin walls and good blood supply, so nutrients are absorbed quickly. Question 3. How and where does carbon dioxide enter a leaf? Answer: carbon dioxide enters through stomata on the surface of the leaf. Question 4. Name one other gas exchanged in a leaf. Answer: oxygen. Question 5. How is the surface area of a leaf increased? Answer: by internal air spaces and large flat shape of the leaf. Question 6. How do lamellae improve gas exchange in fish? Answer: they increase surface area and have thin walls and good blood supply, which makes diffusion faster. Question 7. How does opposite flow of water and blood improve gas exchange? Answer: it keeps the concentration difference high along the whole length, so more oxygen can diffuse into the blood. Tips: students usually memorize these as random facts. Smart students notice a pattern. Every exchange surface in biology follows the same rules. Once you see that pattern, questions stop being scary and start being predictable.